hero exists inside each one of us. And it's up to you to adopt the mindset to begin seeing that you have greatness within you, and that the greater the challenge you are facing today, the greater your story will be.
When I was a kid, my dream was to make it to the X Games to ride freestyle motocross. Every day I pursued that just by riding in the backyard field, and when I was 23 years old, I finally had the opportunity to perform my first jump show ever, and it was like all of my dreams came true.
I jumped in front of a crowd, I was in a magazine with my sponsor, and I felt like I'd given it my all. It was the best I could be, and that I could literally die happy. 2 weeks later, I attended another event in Halliburton, Ontario, and as soon as I hit the ramp, the very first jump of the day, I knew something wasn't right. I flew 75 feet from steel to steel, landed without the motorcycle, broke my back, my pelvis, and my ribs, and I was instantly paralyzed. There's a twist. My father was also paralyzed 4 years before I was. My dad not only became very depressed, but he developed a gambling addiction. And then 7 weeks later, my dad took his own life. And in the moments where I felt like giving up as well, because I felt like doing the same thing as my dad, what I said to myself was, I don't want that to be the ending to my story. And the final chapter has not been written yet.
They're not messing around. Canada right out of the gates, and Rempel hits the iron.
Going back to the day my dad fell from the tree, to me breaking my back, to becoming an elite athlete, when I look back at what has helped me succeed today, I believe there's 3 strong key principles that you can also take home and apply in your own life to be the hero of your own movie. Number 1 is to accept responsibility.
It was incredible. All of his key points and key takeaways fit so well within our theme, but also it was just incredible hearing his own story because it's so relatable to everyone in life.
You may not be responsible for what happens in your life, but you're always responsible for what you do about it. Becoming negative and cynical and pessimistic about the situation, you'll never see that other side.
I tend to work with companies that are going through some degree of either internal or external change. Maybe the regulations have forced them to become more compliant and they're not used to that, or internally a lot of people have shifted around and there's new roles and responsibilities. Either way, there's always an opportunity there to look at that change and embrace it rather than be fearful as if it's something that's going to defeat you and you have no way through that.
But it's in that moment, that's your hero moment, when you ask yourself, how can I look at this situation differently? What do I need to do? Who do I need to call? You start taking some steps when you felt like giving up. And all of a sudden, your calendar does start filling up again. All of a sudden, you do start getting some new bookings. You build some new relationships with some new partners, and they start feeding you business and vice versa. And all of a sudden, your sales are starting to turn back around. You're getting back up on top, and that's the real movie. That can happen. You can do that. But it starts in those moments when you feel like giving up.
He's such an inspiration, and I loved how real he was about his experience.
It is a really powerful story.
Start to view the challenges that are in front of you, not as obstacles, but as opportunities. That no matter what happens to you, no matter where you are in your life, that you've always got another option.
Accept responsibility for your own life. Stop playing the victim role. Start owning your life, the decisions you make, and where you want to go. And as soon as you do that, everything will change.
Welcome back to TDC and your TV with the Halton Region Today Show. My name is Unstoppable Tracy, and we have been with the extraordinary Kevin Rempel, a phenomenal parasport known Paralympic athlete in sledge hockey, and now has been an extraordinary keynote speaker and sledge hockey team builder for those of you that are working on workshops for diversity, and working on workshops for resiliency, but especially coping and building those skills in your world for change. And Kevin was talking to us a little bit about how that change happens on the ice. And Kevin is such an extraordinary athlete and speaker and businessman that I know he strategizes. So we've talked about the past and we've talked about the present. So before we close off with the last couple minutes of the show that we've got, are you willing to kind of connect, what changes or future is coming up in your life, Kevin, and any last messages you want to leave our listeners with?
As far as like what my future holds, I definitely want to build the sledge hockey experience program, getting more people involved because I ran it for a couple years pre-pandemic, and with the world reopening, I know a lot of people want to get together. I think there's a big opportunity to leverage the program and build that as something that can operate on its own.
Yeah.
I personally would like to get into more coaching. I do coach some people individually or in groups already, but I find a lot of joy in that, in addition to the keynotes and workshops with a lot of corporate audiences. That's mostly it. There's
Those
nothing
are
else
big
significant.
lofty goals.
Yeah.
And Kevin, like, I know that I see you almost weekly, at least monthly, because I am on your list and I get to see and learn more about your coming coaching or your coming goals or opportunities where people can join in or give it a try. But most of all, just fill my soul with little golden nuggets that end up being really great, constant reminders. Because it's not about being that one time, it's about that ongoing connection. So, how do people stay in your life? How do people stay in touch? How do people find you to book a session?
Yeah, the best way to stay in touch is I tried to make it simple. So, kevinrempel.com is my website. That's where you can check out the blog articles, or at Kevin Rempel on social. And if you're interested in playing sledge hockey, just play sledgehockey.com. Like, that's the simplest way to go.
It's fabulous. The KISS simple, the KISS principle, keep it simple. Savvy, sassy, superstar, superheroes. We're avoiding the original S meaning. Keep it simple, superheroes. So
there you go.
So any last parting messages for our fabulous superheroes? And they don't know it necessarily, but now they do, that they can be superheroes. A word of wisdom so that they walk away ready to reach out to you and ready to just face today in an extraordinary way.
Basically, like, when I acquired my disability, even though my dad had one and acquired his 4 years before I was, as I mentioned, there was several years before I started to see the path. And so my final message for everyone listening today is that know you are stronger than you think, and that the challenges you're going through today are preparing you for something greater than you can currently possibly imagine, but you must keep going.
Yes. Keep going, and pop your name in Kevin Rempel's website so that he helps you keep going, and that you have a little bit of Kevin with you on an ongoing basis. Kevin, I'm so lucky to call you a friend and an ally. And thank you so much for joining us today on TDC, Your TV, Halton Region Today Show.
Thank you, Tracy. Thanks for having me on, and see you, everyone.
Stay unstoppable, world. Keep on going with Kevin Rempel and Unstoppable Tracy on Your TV, Halton Region Today Show.